7 Scariest Archaeological Discoveries that challenge everything you know about human history. Hello everyone, welcome back to Ancient History, the channel where we embark on a journey to uncover the ancient mysteries buried underground for thousands of years. Have you ever wondered, beneath the layers of dust that cover ancient ruins, what secrets might still be waiting to be revealed? History, which we often think of as complete through the pages of textbooks, is really just the tip of the iceberg. The real secrets lie deep underground, where quiet yet dramatic excavations are taking place every single day. We're talking about skeletons that have slept beneath the earth for millennia, magnificent structures forgotten by time, and artifacts so baffling they leave archaeologists shaking their heads in disbelief. Some discoveries have rewritten our entire understanding of human origins. Others are so mysterious that science still has no clear explanation. So, what have archaeologists uncovered in recent years? What kinds of findings are challenging everything we once believed to be true? And just how many secrets are still hidden beneath the layers of ancient soil and stone? If you're someone who loves exploration and is passionate about uncovering the story of humanity, then don't take your eyes off today's video. Together, we're about to pull back the curtain of the past and dive into some of the most shocking archaeological discoveries, the kind that sometimes even give scientists chills. And now, without keeping you waiting any longer, let's jump right into the first discovery. A human brain preserved for 2,600 years, still intact. In April 2012, the scientific world was shaken by a truly astonishing archaeological discovery. British researchers announced they had found a human brain, dated to be around 2,600 years old, belonging to a man from the Iron Age. What made this find so incredible wasn't just its age, but the fact that the brain tissue was amazingly well preserved, despite having undergone no artificial preservation of any kind. This remarkable discovery was made near the village of Heslington, a site that was once home to this ancient man who lived sometime between 673 and 482 BCE. As his body naturally decomposed, everything else, his skin, muscles, even his hair, completely disappeared. Yet somehow, a portion of his brain tissue remained intact, surviving the ravages of time. This is an extraordinarily rare phenomenon in nature. Normally, brain tissue begins to break down almost immediately after death. It's important to remember, the human brain is made up of about 80% water, along with proteins that actually speed up the breakdown of cells once life ends. In general, soft tissues like the brain only survive through artificial preservation, things like freeze-drying, chemical treatment, or being kept in oxygen-free or acidic environments. But in this case, the brain of the Iron Age man from Heslington defied natural decomposition entirely. In fact, the skull containing this ancient brain was first unearthed back in 2008 by researchers from the York Archaeological Trust. However, it wasn't until 2012 that the findings were finally made public, simply because it took years of study to understand what they had truly uncovered. This brain sample is now recognized as one of the oldest known pieces of preserved human neural tissue ever found in the UK. After months of painstaking analysis, an international team of scientists finally pieced together the mystery. According to Dr. Axel Petzold, lead researcher of the study, special proteins in the man's brain had somehow bound the tissue together, protecting it from decay. These proteins, he explained, had preserved the brain even better than DNA itself. Even more bizarre, these proteins weren't concentrated in the brain's white matter, where you'd normally expect them, but instead were found in unusually high levels in the gray matter. That's not just rare, it's practically unheard of. This strange protein distribution is believed to be the key that prevented the brain from rotting and may have caused it to shrink and harden over time, making it far more solid than a typical adult brain. To this day, scientists still can't fully explain what exact combination of natural conditions allowed this brain to survive over 2.5 millennia. But one thing is clear, this discovery is a fascinating anomaly and a powerful reminder of how much we still don't know about the secrets buried beneath our feet. The 4,800-year-old mass grave of a large family in Poland. A prehistoric burial site has revealed chilling evidence of a brutal massacre of women and children from a large family that lived in what is now Poland 4,800 years ago. That's the theory proposed by researchers after examining the skeletal remains of 15 prehistoric individuals discovered near the village of Kosice in Prosiewicz County, southern Poland. Shockingly, no adult male remains were found among the dead. Experts believe that the women and children were slaughtered while the men were away, possibly on a hunting expedition. When the surviving men returned, they were met with unthinkable horror, their families wiped out by a ruthless enemy tribe. Grief-stricken, these warriors carefully reburied their loved ones, mothers still embracing their children, surrounded by personal jewelry and even animal companions. The mass grave, first excavated in 2011, showed clear signs of violence, crushed bones and skulls bearing fatal blows, indicating a painful and terrifying death. Bone analysis revealed that all 15 individuals belonged to an extended family group that lived around 2800 BCE. 4 women were buried with their children, and DNA testing showed that 4 men among the remains were half-brothers, sharing the same mother but different fathers. One middle-aged woman was buried alongside her 2 young sons, and another mother, aged around 30 to 35, was laid to rest with her teenage daughter and 5-year-old son. The absence of related adult males from the burial is still unexplained, but researchers suspect that a large group of men may have been away hunting or tending to farmland when the attack took place. Plenty of grave goods were discovered at the site, suggesting that the victims belonged to the globular amphora culture, a farming and livestock raising community known for their unique burial practices. DNA analysis confirmed they were early agriculturalists, and according to a study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, PNS, the corded ware people may be responsible for the massacre. The corded ware culture, which shared genetic links with the victims, was expanding rapidly across Europe during that era. This expansionist pressure may have led to violent confrontations with neighboring groups. The corded ware are also known to have mingled and interbred with the Yamnaya, an infamous group from the Eurasian steppe, often described as one of the most violent populations in ancient history. The Yamnaya culture emerged around 3,300 to 2,600 BCE, spreading aggressively across Europe and overwhelming other cultures through conquest and assimilation. Ancient DNA shows that these migrants were well-fed, tall, and muscular, traits likely linked to their meat and dairy-based diet. Some archaeologists believe the Yamnaya were elite horseback warriors, making them especially lethal during this time of massive cultural shifts. So, who were the globular amphora people? Living in Central Europe from roughly 3,400 to 2,800 BCE, they coexisted with both the corded ware and Yamnaya. They were primarily farmers and pig herders, trading livestock and living in small, modest settlements. Their burial customs were elaborate, often featuring large grave pits and ritual offerings such as animal bones and sacrificial objects. Although they shared genetic ancestry with the corded ware, they were eventually overrun and absorbed through intermarriage and violent invasion by the Yamnaya from the east. Some researchers suggest that the Yamnaya invasions may have included systematic massacres of men and the forced reproduction with local women, effectively using rape as a tool of cultural domination to spread their genetic lineage. This kind of ruthless violence likely caused outrage even in the Stone Age world, prompting resistance movements and vengeance from neighboring tribes. Evidence of this can be seen in another archaeological site in Uhlau, Germany, where mass graves were found containing the remains of numerous women and children. Isotope analysis of the adults' teeth showed that many were not local, likely having been taken from other regions, perhaps captives or abducted wives of the Yamnaya. Out of 13 individuals buried at Uhlau, 5 had clear signs of fatal injuries, leading experts to believe they had been ambushed and massacred in a revenge attack. It's thought that the men of the tribe were away tending livestock when the raid happened, leaving the women and children vulnerable. Uhlau stands as a powerful example of retaliation by a marginalized local group. Yet researchers caution that even this event remains wrapped in mystery. More secrets, undoubtedly, are waiting to be uncovered beneath the ancient soils of Europe. The most alluring mummy in the world, the Smiling Princess. In 1939, a research team led by Swiss archaeologist Bergmann Folke discovered a series of ancient graves at the Scariest Archaeological site located deep within the Taklamakan Desert. This extraordinary find was forgotten for nearly 60 years until researchers from the Xinjiang Institute of Cultural Relics and Archaeology resumed excavation in 2000. It wasn't until 5 years later, in 2005, that the excavation was finally completed. What they uncovered was an archaeological site of unprecedented scale. Spread across a vast area, they found 330 graves arranged in multiple layers. Most remarkably, 15 mummies in exceptionally well-preserved condition. The mummies were buried face down in boat-shaped wooden coffins, along with their clothing and jewelry, neatly placed inside small woven baskets. They were wrapped in garments made of wool and cowhide, so meticulously sealed that not a single grain of sand had penetrated their wrappings. According to experts, the harsh environment and dry climate of the Taklamakan Desert created ideal natural preservation conditions, allowing the bodies to remain intact for thousands of years. In addition, archaeologists discovered 6 coffins containing wooden human figures. These carved bodies had identical shapes, representing males, and were marked with a red X symbol, though the meaning behind this remains unknown. But among all the discoveries, one stood out as the most captivating: the mummy of the smiling princess of Xiaohe. This mummy, dating back around 4,000 years, was found in near-perfect condition. Scientific tests revealed that she was a young princess who died at an early age. With the help of modern imaging and forensic reconstruction technology, archaeologists were able to envision what she may have looked like in life. She had smooth skin, a high nose bridge, long auburn hair, and long curled eyelashes, features that resembled Europeans more than traditional East Asians. And most notably, she had a gentle, enchanting smile, earning her the title of the Smiling Princess. These features painted the picture of a breathtaking beauty from the ancient world. Even more astonishing were the DNA test results, which revealed that the Xiaohe mummies carried genetic traits from both Eastern and Western Eurasia. One male mummy, for example, had genes linked to Eastern European populations. What makes this even more mysterious is that archaeologists searched hundreds of kilometers around the burial site but found no cultural or biological connection between the Xiaohe mummies and the surrounding populations. It was as if they had arrived in Xinjiang from some faraway land. This led to one theory, that the princess may have come from somewhere between southeastern Europe and the Ural Mountains. Her people likely migrated and settled in the Taklamakan Desert for a period of time. After her death, she was buried with great care and reverence at the Xiaohe site. Not only was she strikingly beautiful, but she was also dressed in a distinctive and elaborate outfit. She wore a white, cone-shaped hat and high fur-lined boots, clothing that reflected her status and possibly the customs of her people. And yet many questions remain unanswered. What happened to the people like the Smiling Princess? Where did they come from? And why did they disappear? To this day, these mysteries are still buried beneath the desert sands. A wine cup made from a human skull found in an ancient Hunnic tomb. During excavations in Mongolia and Xinjiang, China, in the 1920s, archaeologists uncovered several ancient tombs belonging to the Huns, a fierce and powerful nomadic tribe from the north. What they discovered was both surprising and, in some cases, deeply unsettling. The Huns were known for their warlike nature and aggressive tactics. They often raided the northern frontiers of Chinese dynasties, stealing land, crops, livestock, and even people. Because of their relentless invasions, even Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, along with later dynasties, poured enormous amounts of resources, manpower, and time into constructing the Great Wall to defend against Hunnic attacks. Inside some of the remarkably well-preserved Hunnic tombs, archaeologists found a trove of rare and valuable artifacts, including gold, silver, and precious jewels. But among the most astonishing discoveries were 68 large braids of human hair, which left researchers stunned. After careful examination and analysis, experts concluded that the braids likely belonged to women who had been sacrificed, possibly captured victims taken from neighboring tribes. Based on the cultural beliefs of the Huns, they would not sacrifice women from within their own tribe. Most of the victims were believed to be of Han Chinese or Western origin, but the most chilling discovery was yet to come. Among the grave goods, researchers found wine cups made from human skulls, a gruesome artifact that horrified even seasoned scholars. Although historians already knew the Huns were brutal and heavy drinkers, No one expected that they would go so far as to turn human skulls into drinking vessels. In search of answers, researchers turned to historical texts, particularly the records of the Huns, to verify whether such a custom had ever been documented. Eventually, they found the account they were looking for. The text described how, after defeating their longtime enemies, the Yuezhi, the Huns turned the skull of the Yuezhi king into a wine goblet. This practice was not a one-time event. It evolved into a long-standing ritual among Hunnic warriors. In battle after battle, the Huns slaughtered their enemies without hesitation, decapitated them, and used their skulls as trophies, drinking wine from them like symbols of domination and victory. The chilling inscription on the coffin lid of the Chinese empress's granddaughter. As modern society continues to develop, with skyscrapers springing up like mushrooms in Xi'an, China, mysterious discoveries have gradually come to light during the construction of underground projects. In 1957, a group of workers at a construction site uncovered an ancient tomb buried underground. Immediately upon discovery, archaeologists quickly arrived at the scene to assess the situation and confirmed that this was a rare ancient royal tomb dating back to the northern Zhou and Sui dynasties, 581 to 619 AD. According to archaeologists, the tomb's occupant was the granddaughter of Empress Yang Lihua, named Li Jingshun. She was only 9 years old when she passed away. Historical records state that, shocked by the death of her granddaughter, Empress Yang Lihua ordered Li Jingshun to be buried in a coffin larger than that of Emperor Yang Jian of the Sui dynasty. The coffin, also called a sarcophagus, was made of stone and was crafted by a famous artisan of the time, skillfully designed in a palace style. The lid of the coffin was intricately carved. When the archaeologists found it, they said the value of this coffin was priceless. Inside the coffin, they also discovered a large number of precious items. Since the owner was a young girl, most of these were finely crafted jewelry, especially a necklace made from precious jade and pearls. In addition, there were numerous valuable gems inside the coffin that shocked archaeologists due to their immeasurable worth. Currently, this precious necklace is preserved in the National Museum of China. Another treasure found in the tomb was an oval-shaped glass bottle, astonishing archaeologists who marveled at the ancient glass-blowing technology, which was unmatched in that era. However, what sent chills down everyone's spine was the discovery of 4 Chinese characters inscribed on the coffin lid, Kai Jia Ji, meaning, "Whoever opens this will die." This mysterious inscription added an even deeper layer of intrigue to the ancient tomb. Many archaeologists believe this is the reason why the tomb has remained untouched for over 1,400 years, because of the warning carved on the coffin lid. On the Chinese social platform Jihu, many people left comments about the mysterious 4 characters. Some even consider it a terrible curse meant to scare off grave robbers. On the other hand, some speculate that Empress Yang Lihua, devastated by the loss of her granddaughter, deliberately had this inscription carved to protect her beloved child in the afterlife, with no other sinister meaning intended. What do you think about the meaning of these 4 characters? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. The 9,900-year-old human skeleton found at the bottom of the Mexican Sea. Deep inside a water-filled cave beneath the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, archaeologists have made a groundbreaking discovery, an almost perfectly preserved prehistoric human skeleton that could completely change what we thought about the first people to set foot in the Americas. This is not just an anonymous skeleton forgotten for millennia. It is Chan Hall 3, the name given to a Paleo-Indian woman who lived in this region at least 9,900 years ago, possibly even earlier. Yes, you heard that right, nearly 10,000 years ago, at a time when, according to traditional views, only a few small groups of hunter-gatherers had migrated to North America from Siberia. So, what makes Chan Hall 3 so special that it shakes up the archaeology world? It's not just the age of the skeleton, but also the unique features of this woman's skull, which have made scientists question all previous theories about the ancestors of Native Americans. According to Professor Wolfgang Stinisbeck, head of the research team from Heidelberg University, Chan Hall 3's skull characteristics are completely different from other Paleo-Indians found in North America. While most Paleo-Indian skulls are long-shaped, typical of the first groups who migrated from Asia to the Americas, Chan Hall 3 has a round skull, wide cheekbones, and a flat forehead. These traits are similar to 3 other skeletons found in caves near Tulum. This raises a big question. Why is there such a significant difference between people thought to be from the same time period and ethnic group? Could it be that the first people to arrive in the Americas were not a single group but multiple groups, each with their own origins, physical traits, and cultures? Or maybe a small group lived isolated in the Yucatan Peninsula long enough to develop unique genetic and physical characteristics? These hypotheses are sparking a major debate among archaeologists. Are we underestimating the complexity of human migration and settlement in the New World? Imagine this. During the last ice age, when much of the land was frozen and sea levels were tens of meters lower than today, an ancient land bridge called Beringia connected Asia and North America. 900-year-old princess mummy still has intact hair and eyelashes. Archaeologists recently discovered the mummy of a woman buried in Arctic ice and wrapped in thick animal fur. What makes this mummy extraordinary is that her hair and eyelashes remain fully intact. Through research, archaeologists estimate that this mummy is about 900 years old, and her face still retains rare, striking features that many find haunting. It is known that this woman was a princess who died at the age of 35 and was buried alongside nearly 30 men nearby. The archaeological details of this mummy have truly amazed experts, as her eyelids, teeth, and hair are remarkably well preserved. The greenish coloration on her face comes from corrosion caused by fragments from a copper kettle, an item believed to protect her on her journey to the afterlife. Further studies suggest she was a member of a medieval hunting and fishing civilization. Archaeologists are puzzled as to why she was buried in this location, which was previously thought to be a burial ground exclusively for men. One hypothesis is that she was an elite member of that society, and possibly the only female individual. However, while her head is exceptionally well preserved, the rest of her body suffered significant damage and appears to have been completely destroyed. Additionally, experts found a few children's mummies nearby, though they likely are not related to the woman. Professor Donghoon Shin from Seoul National University explains, "Worldwide, there are 2 types of mummies, artificial and natural. A classic example of artificial mummification is found in Egypt. Natural mummies are preserved by specific environmental and climatic conditions, such as permafrost or deserts. Because this mummy was so well preserved, even her internal organs remain intact, offering fascinating opportunities for research." As you can see, archaeology constantly surprises us, from discoveries dating back millions of years to secrets about massive treasures. Which of the discoveries mentioned above do you find the most fascinating? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on more exciting discoveries. That's all for now. Goodbye and see you next time.